Okay, then we go. Hi, I think we are live. I'm waiting to get a thumbs up. Everything seems to work, and welcome for today's webinar. Today we are going to talk about what you would have seen at IBC. We are of course very sorry that we couldn't meet you all in person, but I hope this will be good. Today we are going to talk about our product line, the Direct series, and we will also look closer at some of our new features. With me today on my right side I have Roland.
Hello, I'm the product manager of Interoperability and I'm the CEO for another few weeks. We will have a new CEO in January.
Perfect. My name is Daniel, I forgot that part. I'm helping customers in the Nordic region and also in the US. Also on link we have our very own Martin Weber. Welcome.
Hi. I'm Martin. I'm taking care of European partners and customers, and based on time zone it could even be South Africa or Peru. That's me. I have fun listening to customers, understanding the challenges, think about the best workflow and the best concept, and hopefully I can show you some of these concepts today.
Thanks. And also with me today we have our minions that are working with the TriCaster to do the production, video production, and also the audio production. So right now I wanted to do a technical walkthrough of what we are using today. So Roland, could you maybe tell us a bit more?
Yep, we have here what we would have shown at IBC. We have our IBC rack here. A rack, direct link rack on the top. We have a router with SDI outputs here. We also have a video mixer, an Atom video mixer. I will show you how we will use that later. If we look closer to this direct link, we have our Heimdall. It's the modem. It can have 4 or 8 SIM cards, 3G, 4G modems. We also have a 4-wire talkback. This kit could also have a return video, HDMI monitor for return video. So it's a kit that you can bring to a live event and send a multi-camera production over a fixed internet connection in combination with 3G, 4G. And we have our mobile encoder. The mobile encoder we have had for a while. The new thing is that we have integrated the Stream Deck. So the mobile encoder can have a built-in video mixer. It also has built-in 3G, 4G, Wi-Fi and so on. You can do bonded internet, multiple camera. But you can also do a local video mix on it. And now we have a very easy to use interface for switching between the cameras locally. We also have our backpack, and the backpack is also we have had for a few years. It's a 3G, 4G bonding backpack with good antennas to give a good network connectivity. And the new thing we have is a digital belt pack based on a Glen Sound device. So this is really good because it has input gain, it has a volume, it has a button for push to talk. But the button can also be on the other way, it's always on. So this is for 4-wire talkback communication between the cameraman and the control room. In combination with that, you can also have an IFB connector to a reporter to have 2 different audios going out to the reporter team or the OB team. But in this, the demos we have today, we will focus on the rack encoder and the router and show features on them.
Sounds good. I know one of the features we've been talking a lot about, and I know you want to demo today, is the ultra low latency. So yeah, show us more.
Exactly. I can start in the web interface. So I will show you how to create an ultra low latency encoding mode. And on the encoder you go to advanced. You can edit your encoding mode. I can choose, of course, the bitrate as usual, but I can also select which quality I want. And in this case I want ultra low latency. I want to use the Opus codec because that gives me even lower latency. The Opus audio codec is only compatible with Interoperable receivers, so if you send to another another receiver, you need to use AAC. So that is my encoding mode. I have configured this on encoder 3. So I'm getting an SDI input signal from a camera. I'm sending to the local router here with an SDI output. So I can show that output on my TV behind here. And if I now clap my hands, you can see hopefully on the TV that the latency is short. And it's about 0.5, 0.6 seconds, but it's because of there is latency in the TV and there is latency in the camera, but the SDI glass to glass is less than 500 milliseconds. And this ultra low latency is of course really useful when you do a two-way communication. In this today's setup, we have Martin on the link from Germany sending an ultra low latency stream to us, a bonded ultra low latency, and also having an ultra low latency return to Germany, so he can participate in our event in a very natural way.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now I think we are going to jump to Martin because he will tell us more about a REMI project that are using ultra low latency.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, I have several REMI projects. REMI is remote integration. Some people might say remote production. So yeah, the REMI concept number 1 is actually an on-site mix. And that, I can show you, is about how we do European-wide truck racing. As you see the little map, there's races in Spain and France, in Belgium, in Germany, of course, Czechoslovakia and Hungary. So there is a challenge for this project, and that is 100 megabits up and down maximum. So how can I have multiple feeds coming in? And these feeds are actually coming from the track itself. And that could be several cameras from the track, and we have another 3 mobile encoders in the trucks for the onboard camera feeds. So all these go into a direct router/Atom mixer, and the challenge is to actually produce from home, and that is being done via a multi-view streams being sent on ultra low latency, just like what we do right now, and that is being received in the studio. And in the studio there might be a Blackmagic console, a mixer, and that is using the VPN, the virtual private network, to actually remote control the Atom mixer on site. So everything, the PGM, is produced on site. So what else you want to do to make the concept or the content more interesting? You need replays being produced in the studio, being sent over live to the rack at the racetrack. You might want to see some international highlights. And of course, the team on site needs a PGM return feed so they know what's being produced. Yeah. As a next step, of course, you just create the PGM out. That is going back to the studio again. And that is based on Bifrost protocol to send, redundant, secure, reliable, and SOT is being used for the pull, the request to get the feeds back into the system at the racetrack. Once you have it, the PGM, you can forward to your takers on SOT, Bifrost, or RTMP level, which might go to YouTube, Facebook, or other streaming platforms. So yeah, that was pretty much the REMI concept number 1. So going back to Sweden, please.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. I haven't watched the truck racing myself, but it does sound very exciting, and I have to check that out. Another new feature of ours is stream synchronization. We've been working with this a lot, and I know Roland has a good demo for this. So show us.
Yeah. The direct link rack we have here has multiple SDI inputs, and we have connected one taped content with Swedish ice hockey to the two SDI inputs on this one. And I will show you in the web interface how to configure this. We have encoder 1 is connected to SDI input 1, and we have encoder 2 connected to SDI input 2. And then we are sending to our router, and we can configure a custom end-to-end delay. So in this case, I have 2 seconds on encoder 2, and I have on encoder 1, I have 1.8 seconds. And now I run those 2 streams into the Atom Blackmagic mixer. And if I go the right way, I have the Blackmagic mixer interface here. I have one of the inputs on camera 1 and the other one on camera 2. And I can do a crossfade between them, so I have a 50-50 fade between. And let's have a look at how that looks on the output. So this is a 0.2 second out of sync combination of 2 SDI streams. So as you can see, it's very not in sync. So if we go back to the web interface, and I can change the other stream to have, oh sorry, I may have, oh it works. So let's go back to the video and see, now we can see that one camera stopped for a while and then it starts again. And it takes a few seconds for the streams to be synced. But I think right now they are in sync. So after a few seconds, they are 100% in sync. They are still in 50-50 crossfade on my Atom mixer. I can show you that if you want. We still have a crossfade. We can go back to the video and they are in sync. So this can be done with more than 2 inputs. We can have up to 12 SDI inputs on the same encoder, and they can all be configured to be in sync. We can also have different bit rates. As long as you have the same end-to-end delay, it will be in sync. And it could also be from 2 different encoders sending to the same receiver. So anywhere where you want to have multiple cameras in sync to one receiver, you can use this new feature.
Interesting. Thanks. And I know Martin has another REMI project where they've been using stream synchronization. So Martin, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is my REMI concept number 2. Let's call it at-home production. This is about ESL producing the Intel Extreme Masters. That was actually in July this year. So here's just a slide to show you when that was. So you can have the presentation later or get the PDF, so you can click on all the links and try out yourself. So this was in Cologne, Germany, and the studio was actually in Katowice in Poland. So the first direct router Rec Plus actually offers 4 SDI inputs and 2 SDI outputs. So we're sending feed number 1, 2, 3, and 4 over public internet in sync from A to B into the Katowice studio. And the second unit, and that's what Roland mentioned, can be in perfect frame sync again, do the same thing, but this time offer feed 5, 6, 7, and 8. So all this going from A to B was in perfect stream sync, frame sync. Yeah, so I have another slide just because it's so nice to look at pictures. So you see this is the rack, how it looks like in the Cologne arena for esports, and this is how it looks in the studio in Katowice. Yeah, so that was the concept number 2, and back to Sweden, please.
Thanks. Very impressive. I know how highly they are looking to have high quality in esports, and it's impressive the events that they are doing, and it's cool to see. We are now going to talk more about something we like to call multi-vendor interoperability. We are discussing this a lot, and especially now during COVID, when it's more and more important to be able to work with different takers, work with different production companies, or to work with people from home. So, Roland, why don't you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, so I will show you a little bit about different protocols for transport over the internet. And if we start looking in the web interface again, this is our IBC router in the rack beside us. And we have two kind of IP inputs on the router. We have one is the traditional IP stream, and that is for taking in MPEG transport streams, which can also be resent as an MPEG transport stream without changing anything, just changing the protocol. And we have another kind of IP input we call net video input. So the net video input is when you don't have an MPEG transport stream. But let's have a look at the IP stream in first. And we can have different input sources. If I go and hover over this information sign, I can see which protocols we support. And we are going to look today at RTP plus FEC, the traditional MPEG-2 COP3 forward error correction. And we are also looking at our protocol called Bifrost, and that's our proprietary protocol that is only supported when sending between Intinor and Intinor. We will look at SRT, developed by Haivision and open sourced, and we will look at RIST, which is the new protocol that we have added to our products. As you can see here, we can also stream out this in different protocols, so we can resend the things that come in to different takers, and we can have multiple takers from the same input, and we can also add RTMP streams from the input. And on the net video input, the other kind of input, we have other protocols, HLS, RTMP, RTSP, NDI, and we also added now SRT on net video input. And that is because some other vendors are sending something that is not really an MPEG transport stream inside SRT. And then we can not use it on an IP stream in and resend it, but we can take it in on a net video input and decode it and put it on SDI out, or use it in a video mixer or a multi-view, or transcode it and resend it. So SRT on net video input is good for compatibility with products that are not 100% MPEG transport compatible. So we are sending now from our rack encoder those 4 different protocols. So let's have a look at the multi-view showing how it looks. You have a lot of information here, but it's RTP COP3 FEC, it's SRT, it's RIST, and it's Bifrost. And RTP COP3 has the lowest end-to-end latency. So the other protocols use more error correction and also ARQ. So of course the end-to-end latency can be adjusted, but it's usually higher than COP3 FEC. So when everything looks good and there is no packet loss, then you can use any of those protocols. But I will show you how it looks if we have a bit of packet loss. So now I'm going to add some packet loss in the system. So I start with not that much packet loss, but I think you can see that some of the protocols already have some issues with this. And I can go ahead and add more packet loss and more latency. Now we are at 10% packet loss and 100 millisecond latency. and we are starting to have a problem on most of the protocols. I can go up a little bit more also. So some of the protocols have big issues when the network has problem. Of course, this can be also handled with network bonding, so you can use multiple internet connections at the same time. And that is at the moment supported by RIST and Bifrost, but not SRT or COP3 FEC. So the thing we want to show here is mostly like that the video is working and that we can support different protocols. Now the video our hockey just restarted, so it's not a problem with the equipment, it's a problem with the video content. But what we are showing is that we are compatible with different protocols. And if you want to send streams to other vendors, take in content from other partners, you can use SRT or RIST. If you want to send between two Internode units, it's best to use Bifrost. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show.
Yeah, thanks. And yeah, you mentioned this a bit, and what we really want to show is why pick one hardware or one vendor that can only do one protocol. We believe that it's a good thing moving forward and in this environment that we're in, to be able to work with different protocols and achieve interoperability. I know Martin has some thoughts and some projects he's been working on. So let's send over to Martin again.
Hi, thanks Daniel. Yeah, interoperability. I've shown the exact same demo slash multi-view at the ARD ZDF Academy event. That was a 1 week training hands-on thing in Germany for the ARD group, and that was based on SRT mainly, just to show what an open platform can do for customers. And of course it also covers RIST, which is the new protocol. So that Academy event was actually together with LiveView. So the LiveView system was using their own proprietary protocol, LRT, LiveView Reliable Transport. The same thing as always, there's a public IP, there's a firewall for port forwarding going to the LiveView server. And here's the trick, I can use my Internode direct router. And here are the settings. I can do an SRT request, and that is going to the public IP. You see that number here? That matches the public IP here. So I'm requesting to receive an SRT stream, which is coming back to my system. So now I can do whatever I need to do with that LiveView feed on SRT level. And that's how it looks in ISS. So all green, all good. And of course, thinking about receiving and sending, because the Blue machine is the most versatile machine we have. It can be an encoder, it can be a receiver, it can be doing transcoding, lots of things. And so send and receive is possible. And especially when looking at the partners that are available on the RIST forum platform or the SRT Alliance, it goes into, I think, 150 or even more. Maybe it's important to understand or to know that there's no subscription model, there's no data volume cost, no cloud serving cost, no nothing. If you have it, you own it. And that could actually mean you interface with vMix, Hivision, NetInsight, Atom, or OBS, just to give you some examples. So yeah, that was kind of the interoperability slide. Daniel, do you think it's good to go ahead and show the hybrid thing, or?
I think that would be a perfect fit for this moment.
Okay, good. So the next slide is a hybrid event that's corporate streaming. The challenge here was to actually create a concept that works for the management level. The management talking to their partners, and of course talking to the employees. So this concept is kind of the basic idea of a customer telling me, hey, we have to use TriCaster because that's how we produce it, and we have to use MS Teams because that's the way we do the internal corporate communications. So then the other thing was, like, we have a product manager, maybe, let's say he's in the Netherlands, he's working from home because of Corona, and of course he has a PowerPoint presentation, just like I'm doing right now. He might have a PTZ, I have a standard camera. He might have a second camera, just like we have in Sweden, to show you the products. So that is his setup, let's say, in the Netherlands. And that goes into a direct link. It could as well be a direct link mobile. And we do the same trick we've seen before with the truck racing. We produce an ultra low latency multi-view stream going from A to B. And this time we're actually mixing on the direct link / rack or mobile, it doesn't matter. So the feeds are going from A to B. So multi-view, maybe 720 2 megabits, just good enough to see it. And the high quality PGM, because of the limited upstream capacity, we want to make the best quality as a PGM. So that goes into a direct router. And the next challenge is, how can I get more participants into the show? And that, in this case, is Live Call Connect, offered by NewTek. So that allows you to connect and produce in your studio with TriCaster, and the TriCaster is actually receiving an NDI out feed from the direct router. So what else do we need to do? When the final PGM is being produced, of course, there is an NDI output going back into our system, and I do the same trick again. I do an SOT pull request. So I can actually see on my remote system, I can see Sweden. In this case, the gentleman in the Netherlands, he can see the multi-view created in the studio because he wants to talk to everybody in the on the management level. Or later in the second step, he wants to see all the partners. In addition, of course, he needs another feed to see what's on the program. What other challenges do we have? You want to remote control the PTZs. You've seen that we do this with presets. So that could be a Scarhoy controller, it could be a Stream Deck controller, actually creating the mix on my machine here in Germany. In this case, it's in the Netherlands. So that is the VPN, and that controls the PTZs from remote. Another thing is, you want to talk to everybody, but you don't want to hear yourself. You don't want to have an echo. So somebody has to produce the mix minus, and that's done in the studio, and that introduces the Interoperability 4-wire Talkback, and that technology is using either Dante, for example, so you can have a Dante Avio interface. Maybe it's better to have a PreSonus analog interface on the remote end, but there's more interfaces. You're not in any way limited on this. So that is just how we produce it. Now, the next level is you want to share that with your management team members or your partners, and that can be done over NDI virtual input into MS Teams. So we covered the management and the partners level, and of course the last step might just be produce something that goes out to the employees that need to be informed as well. And we just released a new product. It's pretty small. You need to find it on our website. It's called the Direct Link Basic. That's a fanless machine that could be a perfect match for such an application. So that was my presentation for the hybrid event. So going back to Sweden, please.
Thank you very much. And yeah, like Martin mentioned, we've done this today. Unfortunately, we only have one PTZ camera. Would have made life easier with another one to use over the VPN. Much easier to control everything from here. But one thing we did have is 4G bonding. We used the fixed internet at Martin's house. And we can have a quick look at that in the web interface of Roland's computer, and you can tell us more about that.
Yes, I would say a good reason to use an Interoper for a remote participant like Martin is, of course, the video and the audio quality, as you can see. But we can also do network bonding, and from Martin's home, his internet is not perfect in any way. So that's why we have connected also a 4G router and 2 SIM cards. So we have packet loss, we have latency on the networks, but there is no problem sending a stream if we have all those networks working together.
And I know another cool feature we're using here is, as you can see on this page, that IP1 is using most of the data. We can actually go on system and data cost. This will allow us to prioritize the connections we have. So if you have some SIM cards that are expensive, or if we're having some other problems with internet, we can easily reconfigure how much data we're pushing on different SIM cards or different network connections. Yeah, also something that comes in handy, and when you have this remote control, you can more easily manage this and make changes once you see what's happening.
As we can see now, I put all the networks on the same cost, and then the Bifrost will try to balance the bitrate between the different links, but it will still have no packet loss. It will use bandwidth from, depending on how good the networks are, it will use more or less of them. But it's just to show that we can work with multiple networks at the same time.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted to show you today. We are happy that you joined us. I'm eager to get out to expos. We hope to see you, our Swedish customers, at Monitor Roadshow. That will hopefully happen in January. We are looking forward to NAB in the US, and then hopefully some maybe local expos around Europe before we can head back to IBC next time. But if we didn't have any questions, I think we want to thank everyone for watching today. Visit our website, intinor.com. Reach out if you have any questions, or if you would like to schedule a one-on-one presentation. If it's something that you want to learn more about, or if you want to get your hands on some equipment for evaluation. So, any questions? No? Good. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye-bye.